Good afternoon folks, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Lee, your virtual airline pilot, and back with you again with the second of this week's reviews. It's early afternoon, we're in the Caribbean. This is the island of Martinique, a very popular tourist spot for the rich and famous. And this is Fort de France Martinique International Airport on the island of Martinique. This is the new version 2 from Tropicalsim. It's a payware scenery product. Version 2 for the PC version of Flight Sim 2020. It's available from Simmarket, and I'll give you the price. Simmarket price €19.79, which equates to roughly $21.65 US, or £16.60 UK. Those prices are estimates taken from the euro, and they include tax and VAT at 20%, which of course could vary depending on your country of purchase. Interesting thing to note, if you've purchased previous versions of the Tropicalsim scenery, version 1 or whatever, for Flight Sim 2020 or for FSX or P3D, then you're entitled to a discount on this as an upgraded price. So if you log into Simmarket, if you have a Simmarket account and you've made a previous purchase from them, you can get a discount, a reasonably substantial one. I think it's about €4 or €5, so it could be useful for some of you. But yeah, a nice airport in the Caribbean, situated in a nice place, and yeah, it's, looks really good. We're here to see what improvements have been made and just how good this scenery is. So let's look at the features. So features, we have a highly detailed MSFS2020 International Airport in Fort de France and Martinique. Tango Foxtrot 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 is the ICAO code. They've got full night illumination, native MSFS dynamic lighting, functional animated jetway, and you'll see that in the jetway test, seamless integration with the default MSFS scenery, usage of the default MSFS SDK as the software development kit, flight sim materials and PBR textures, and usage again of the MSFS SDK native GITF models. I still don't know what GITF models are. Somebody in the comments know what they are. Maybe they could let me know what that is. So yeah, on balance, it looks like a nice airport. From this height, you can see there's also a lot of photo ground scenery that's been used, and from this height, it doesn't look too bad. It'd be interesting to see what it looks like close up. So those are the features. Let's have a quick look at some history. So history, Martinique MSFS2020 International Airport, Tango Foxtrot Foxtrot Foxtrot, is a public use international airport on the island of Martinique in the French West Indies. The airport is owned and operated by Aéroports Français and is located in La Lamantaine, a suburb of the capital Fort de France, around 4.3 miles or 7 kilometers east of the city. The airport was opened in 1950 and renamed in 2007 after author and politician MSFS2020. The airport sits only 16 feet or 5 meters above sea level and has just one 9,800 foot or 3,000 meter runway. When the island's national airline, Air Martinique, existed, its headquarters were located right on the airport property. And the airport has been twice visited by Concorde supersonic jet transport, having departed from Paris in France. Passenger facilities include the airport police, customs, a baggage reclaim, a pharmacy, a vaccination bureau, facilities for the handicapped, a tobacconist, a bank, currency exchange, souvenir shops, tax-free shopping, gift shop, a florist, hairdresser, car rentals, taxis, car parking, restaurants, cafes and bars, and 2 major hotels very close to the airport as well. The airport also supports a cargo facilities including a 747 freighter dock, bonded warehouse, transit zone, mechanical handling, heating storage, refrigerated stores. There's a mortuary, a fresh meat inspection centre, health officials, and a very large heavy cargo and express courier centre. Some 15 airlines operate into and out of Fort de France, including Air Antilles, Air Canada, Air Transat, Sunrise Airways and Winair. There are 2 cargo operators, DHL Aviation and FedEx, who also use the airport. So that's a quick bit of history for you. One thing I have noticed moving around these scenery while I've been talking, there are some quite an alarming number of scenery pops and terrain changes. We will have a look at those as we have a close look at the landside area of the airport. But for now, let's look at runways. Okay, runways. So Martinique Fort-de-France Airport operates a single runway 1028, measuring 9,843 feet or 3,000 meters. It's constructed from asphalt. The airport lies at an elevation of just 16 feet or 5 meters and sits within the GMT UTC -4 hours time zone. Now, the island of Martinique does not observe daylight saving time or DST, and with the UK already advancing 1 hour ahead onto DST here in the UK, Fort-de-France Airport is currently 5 hours behind the UK. So we're looking first down the throat of runway 10, and I have to say I have noticed vehicles unfortunately going down the runway, so that's something that they haven't managed to solve in this scenery. Some other scenery developers have, but they don't seem to have been solved here. Also, one thing I should mention, here to the right you're looking at the military area here, which according to the chart should not under any circumstances be overflown, so you need to get your approach right. But let's concentrate on the main runway. Both ends of this runway 1028 features high intensity runway lighting, runway end identifier lighting system and precision approach path indicators on the left side. Now that's all good, except that we're missing the runway end identifier lights. 2 white flashing lights either side of the runway end here that should be flashing. They're not there. You've got green lights here which indicate the end of the area of the runway, but there should be 2 white lights. Those are the international runway end identifier lighting system. Approaches for runway 10, you have a standard instrument landing system here with Y and Z approach options, and you also have an RNP and VOR approach option for this runway. So it's all okay, except that we're missing the runway end identifier lighting. Everything else is pretty much as is. Let's go up and have a look at the other end, runway 28. So here we are looking down the throat of runway 28. Again, you have the standard high intensity runway lighting. The PAPI's on the left, but once again we're missing the runway end identifier lighting system, the 2 white flashing lights either side of the runway. The extended threshold here is on the charts, and neither end has any approach lighting, although here you can see we've got them in the scenery, but they've actually been turned off, so that's correct. So the runways are fine, even the turning areas are fine as well at both ends. The only thing that's missing are the white runway end identifier flashing lights at either end of the runway. Approaches for runway 28, well, there's no ILS at this end. You have an RMP and a VOR approach option only. If you look at the charts, there are some restrictions with taxiing and manoeuvring, certainly for heavy jets. Taxiways L and D, Lima and Delta, are prohibited to aircraft with a wingspan greater than 92 feet or 28 meters, or a main gear width of 20 feet or 6 meters. And there are other prohibitions as well. So certain restrictions at this airport, by certainly no means getting heavy jets in here, 777s, 737s, and even the 747. The big jets have no problem getting in here. There's no restrictions on their arrivals, but there are restrictions on how they can park and where they can get to. So there you go. That was the runway situation. Pretty much everything as it should be, except that we're missing the 2 flashing lights at either end, which to be honest would have been a great help. But there you go. And while we're here, I just thought we'd have a look at the situation with vehicles entering the runway. There were 2 other vehicles a moment ago that I saw, but sort of missed. Here's the fire service engine. As you can see, he's coming down the runway. He hasn't crossed over it. And still coming down, so these are the things you're going to have to cope with or look out for on landing. So it would be worthwhile having crash detection turned off. And as you can see, we're heading down the runway, and we're still going. And here, not sure what these guys are going to do. Actually, they're going down there. But there have been others going down the runway. So unfortunately, Tropicalsim haven't solved that problem in a way that some other developers have. So anyway, there's the runway situation for you. Let's have a look at the JETWAY test now. Okay, JETWAYs, so here we are, we're on stand 5. Once again, it's the Phoenix Airbus A320 IAE version. We've spawned directly from the menu and I've connected the tug. We're on ground power at the moment. Thought I'd show you this view. Here's the safe area demarked by the red line. There should be nothing parked in it, but actually, I mean, you've got these vehicles here, but they should be further away really. They're too close to this. That's just a niggle really though. But yeah, I mean, the safe area for the JETWAY actually isn't properly marked out in the way that you'd expect it at most airports. But again, I've never been here, so I don't quite know. But let's turn our attention to the JETWAY itself. Visually, it looks really good. The detail's good. Texturing's excellent. The glass looks great. The stairs here are raised, which will prevent them going into the tarmac, I should imagine. So anyway, let's connect the tug and see how it goes. Okay, the wheels turn. The JETWAY head has sort of dropped sideways. Let's see how it looks when it connects. Motion looks good. It's a nice animation to look at. Right, now the head's looking... Right, it's gone into the side of the aircraft skin quite markedly, unfortunately. And it looks like it's a bit sort of skew-if. Anyway, let's have a close-up look. So there you can see it looks like a snug fit, but it's actually gone through the skin. Let's check from the other side. So we've got a very slight gap at the bottom, but again you can see the hood has gone right through the skin and indeed through the captain's window, which is not good. Anyway, let's look inside the JETWAY head. So there's a view looking towards the door. The door is open. As you can see, the door's got plenty of room. It's okay. The bottom of the JETWAY connects quite well. And to be honest, so does the top. It's just a pity that it's had to go so far through the skin in order to achieve it. So there's the upper part of the JETWAY, which looks really good, except for the fact that this here has gone right through the skin, unfortunately, and again on this side it's gone through the captain's window. There you can see the ground bit. It's a fairly snug fit. There's a view from inside the aircraft looking out. As you can see, the JETWAY's gone all lopsided. Not really sure why that is. Yeah. Okay, well, JETWAY works. It connects. You can get passengers on and off here. But the head there is a bit sort of lopsided. And of course the big thing is that the hood has gone through the skin of the aircraft. In fact, it's gone right through the captain's window. So there you can see the captain's seat. Luckily the captain wasn't there at the time, and there you can see the hood has gone right through the aircraft side. That's pretty extreme. I've never seen a hood go that far in before. It's pretty extreme really to look at. That's probably the one major sort of showstopper about the whole thing. But as you can see, visually the JETWAY looks great. Glass looks good. We've got slight weathering. It's lovely. So let's disconnect it. Once again the hood springs back and the door closes on the Airbus. So the motion, and this motion here is really good. Let's see if that changes. That's nice. You got the shine there. So there you go. See, the hood springs up to its normal position. Don't know why it springs down to begin with. Maybe that's something they need to revisit. So there you go. That was JETWAYs for you. Let's again get down and dirty onto the airport properly and see what we've got here. Okay, so let's start the main tour. Before we do, we're at the very eastern end of the airfield, and below us you can see the roads which are photoground, and actually they're not too bad from here, although you've got a couple of photo cars there. What I want to point out to you, and we're going to probably see this quite a bit, here you've got a terrain anomaly. When I move, this will slot into place. And here you've got this house here, beautifully modelled, but which is off the ground. So let's just move towards this, and you can see what I mean by scenery popping. So there it goes, and we're still off the ground here. So as we advance westwards, and we're going to go and do an airside tour of the airport, here you can see there's still off the ground. So one or two little anomalies they need to sort out here. So for the moment, here we are, we're tracking east to west. There's the runway 28 threshold to the left of us here, and we've got some nice detail. A couple of palm trees, cars all nicely parked. Buildings are quite good. As you can see, there's a mixture of photoground and a mixture of buildings and things that are laid onto them. And there you can see some scenery popping in and out. If you look at the buildings ahead of us, as we approach them, you can see the terrain is sort of going up and down with buildings moving about. But in addition, you can see the actual airport detail is really nice. Visually, it's a very pleasing place. They've done a nice job. And here as we go past the airside area, there's my aircraft parked on stand 5. And you can see airside, it looks really good. There's everything you need, and you can see in the distance more scenery popping, things, objects coming into view, literally popping into view, which is a bit disconcerting. But as you can see, when they're there, they're great. Here again, you've got vehicles down here that are off the ground that need to be sorted out. Now you see they've actually reset themselves. This is a pity, really. I'm not getting any stutters, and I'm not moving that fast, yet we're getting this little problem. And that's a pity. I mean, okay, it might not affect you at all flying in here. But in terms of detail and the way it's laid out, it's not too bad at all, and it fits quite well with the photoground, even though the photoground isn't really that good. There you can see anomalies in the distance with the terrain. So let's go back again and have a look at the low level and slow this down a bit. You know, visually it looks good. It's really nice. Big open hangar there. And as you can see, I'm not moving that fast. We still get little things popping in and out to the left there. But really quite nice. And there does appear to be some detail on the sort of the airport itself, which we will look at. The jetways visually are great. There's a nice job on the jetways, and as you can see from the or as you saw from the jetway test, don't really have any problems. But airside looks nice. The right amount of stains on the tarmac. All the signage looks good. You do have some animated flags, even though those don't appear to be. But as you can see, I mean, visually it looks great. Looks really good. Well, once again, here you can see we've got stuff off the ground, and it takes a few seconds before it slots back in. And when it's in, though, it looks fine. There's the fire station. It looks really good. It's just disconcerting to seeing the scenery popping all the time. Again, as you go landside, got no more buildings to see off the ground. Waiting for them to go onto the ground, and they're not at the moment. Or maybe some of them are on stilts, I don't know. Okay, so a couple of close-up shots of the stand. Here's my aircraft, the Phoenix Airbus A320, parked on stand 5. And it looks great, it really does. It doesn't look too bad at all. We've got an engineer here on the other side of the road. The flags are static, but the building's nicely modelled and textured, as are the JETWAY gates as they turn over the top there. And looking down the road, you can see, no, it's beautifully modelled. It's nice. It's a lovely scene, and you've got a few engineers pumped here and there. And there's an overview of my aircraft parked. It looks really nice. It looks good, really does. So while we're here, let's go into the terminal. I can see somebody walking about there. So it looks like we do have internal development. In fact, through the windows it does look nice. And a really nice scene there. Very, very nice indeed. And here you can see we've got high resolution photos which make it work. It gives the depth that you expect to see when you see these things. It really works well with high res photos. And then looking down towards the other end, you can see plenty of people. Really is not a problem, and lots of animation, and it all works. Nice to see an airline agent sitting behind a check-in desk there. And the animated models are pretty good. And as you can see by my motion with the camera, no effect on frame rate at all. Let's have a little walk down here. As you can see, I'm moving along, no judders, no frame rate problems, and you've still got lots of people. Okay, as we get closer here, the duty-free shop is a bit low resolution, but all very nice. So that's about as close as we can get for the flight board, which isn't very clear, unfortunately. Now here you've got the security area. Let's pop inside. Very nice. Some nice detail. So we'll just have a quick spin back the other way, see what else we can see. There you can see the duty-free shop. I mean, that would have looked better at a higher resolution, because these here are at a higher resolution and they work because of the fact they're at a higher resolution. That style shop's a little bit lower, but again on the left there you can see higher resolution image. It's such a pity. They've done this well, but you've got differences in the resolution of the images which kind of call this into question a bit, really. But no real complaints. This is lovely. Airside, this is really nice. And you've even got people there as well to the right. This is a nice airside interior. And it would appear that it goes all the way down, which is good. So while we're here, let's have a look at the control tower, see whether anything's been done. I mean, the building looks nice. We've got the cars parked there and the trees. I mean, it's a nice little scene. So let's see what's been done, if anything. So there we can see the tower from the outside. And there's the view from the inside. Again, pretty basic, but at least they've got a couple of controllers and you can see that it's out of the control tower. And you can see out through the misted windows, which is a nice effect. And if you look here, you can see what I mean about vehicles traversing the runway, which is a pity. So there's a view showing you the cargo situation. This is the rear end side where you get vehicles parking up and the trucks. There's the tower from this side. And again, all looks pretty nice. And for a change here, the vegetation is not low-res photoground. It's actually not too bad at all. So we do a little traverse across here. You can see the airside fence below us. I mean, the scene looks quite impressive. There's the fuel farm there to the left. And to be honest, there doesn't appear to be any jumping of the scenery. It's all pretty much okay. And that may be because it's already cached, because I've already been over here. It's already in memory. But in the distance here you can see the terrain popping. And here, places where we haven't been, you've got buildings and everything off the ground. And here we're at low-res photo scenery. So let's have a little look landside. There you've got the airport sign sitting in the grass there. And there to the right you've got the car park entrance. This is all pretty low-res. But actually it's not too bad. Works reasonably well. So now we're coming up to the landside part of the terminal itself. Got a couple of cars. I mean, it looks quite nice. No people, or at least no people yet. Just a few parked cars, but no people that I can see there. Although as you can see, the building and everything looks great. There you've got buses. More landside features, and again we got buildings up in the air and now they pop down. So let's do another pass landside. There you've got that great big ball thing in the side of the terminal, which I believe is a feature at the airport. I mean, the structure's great. It's been nicely done. No real complaints. Have a look at the landside car park. And we've got some people. And we've got a couple here as well, and what looks like a little outside restaurant. Well, it's a nice scene. It would have been nice to have maybe a couple of taxis and some people here waiting to go into the terminal landside. They've put a couple of people down the side of a building there, not quite sure why. This is nice. So there's an overview, and it looks pretty nice. It does. And before we go to DUSK, here's a quick look from the flight deck. We're inside the Phoenix Airbus A320. Here's the view when you park up on stand 5. View from the captain's side and across the first officer's window. So that was daytime. We've had a nice little tour over the airport central area. Let's drop it down to dusk, have a look at the night lighting and also the taxiway signage as well. Okay, 20 to 7 in the evening local time. Here's the main ramp, and yeah, lighting looks quite pleasant from here. Plenty of ramp lighting, no asobo globes floating around airside, which is good, and all looks pretty impressive. So I can't see any green centerline lights, but we've got blue airfield edge lights which should help you find your way. and looking towards the threshold of runway 10, and you can see we've got blue airfield edge lights following the taxiway all the way down. Don't know if you just noticed, but this building was in the air and it's just popped down. The scenery popping is a big problem for me, something they need to get a grip on. Particularly, I mean, okay, it's not really going to be an issue for you pilots necessarily. You'll land, you'll taxi, park up at the terminal, and pretty much that's it. But for the rest of the scenery, you know, if you're moving around the scenery, the popping, particularly if you're flying over this in a light aircraft and circling to descend, it's just gonna, it'll be quite irritating. Okay, just to pass along the ramp as we did before, there's the fire station. The building lighting looks quite pleasant, nothing to write home about, parallaxing. But it's okay, no, it's fine, it looks okay. Haven't seen any asobo glows floating around airside, which is good. All the light source is good. There's another terminal with people inside. And once again, lighting looks really good. There's the ramp, my aircraft is parked there. And plenty of ambient lighting. But it does look like you'll need your nose gear light to get off the runway through the taxiways to get onto the apron. But once again, airside looks fine. Does look nice. And here, once again, you've got things floating up in the air. Which is a pity. And here you've got quite a lot of asobo glows floating around. Got the odd car parked in the wrong place there. But here by the terminal, the lighting's pretty good. I mean, I don't really understand why you need an asobo globe here when you've already got lighting. That looks a bit bright, a little bit overdone perhaps. But on the whole, it looks pleasant. And there's another one down there with some people outside the terminal. Obviously it's the Caribbean, this is tropical. And let's have a quick look inside here. Yep, security check. And we'll go out through this window here. You know, all in all, it looks fine. It doesn't look too bad at all. Down there you've got another terminal there with passengers in airside and some parallaxing on the windows to the left there. So another cockpit shot, this time at dusk. Here you can see the lighting on the stand. And there's my aircraft parked on the stand at dusk. Not too bad at all. Let's go and have a quick look at taxiways. So here, the entrance to the runway, you've got the usual guard signs in red. No wigwags or guard lights, but you've got them there. Got these marking signs there. And interestingly enough, there are no signs here to let you know what taxiway you've come off. I mean, this is Bravo from what I can see from the chart I'm looking at to my right. And again, there's the taxiway, but again, no signage at all to let you know which one it is. Again, I haven't been here, so I don't know if the signs are actually there. There's a limited amount you can find out online. Perhaps if somebody's been to this airport, they can let me know. But as you can see from the high level shot, you've got blue airfield edge lights. There's really no other signage except the ones going into the towards the runway, the red signs. And the same is true looking the other way. There you've got the taxiway marked by the blue edge lights and no signage that we can see. There's a control tower, and once again we got buildings jumping up and down there to the right. It really is disconcerting. And here's the inside of the control tower. Again, it's lit, but you really can't see anything outside. You can see a little bit out there towards the airport, but really not by much. So there's an overview, airside and landside. Let's bring the lighting down to night time now. Okay, 10 PM local time. As you can see, the sun is pretty much gone. But the main ramp area here looks good. There's plenty of light. Once you get out of the taxiway onto the ramp area, you shouldn't really have any problems finding your way into the stand. Landside looks pretty good from here too. You've got the mixture of LED lighting and tungsten yellow lighting, which gives quite a nice effect to the scene. And there's the other way, looking the other way. Once again, we've got scenery features, buildings moving up and down. It's just, you know, it really is disconcerting. It's a lovely scenery that's spoilt by sort of the mismanagement of the product itself. But just a close-up overview of the stands. As you can see, it all looks pretty impressive. And there we are looking into the terminal, and you can see the animated people. I mean, that looks good, it really does. There's the terminal from landside. And looking in the other direction. Okay, so we're looking west, and let's bring the dawn up. If I'm in the right position, we should be able to see the glow on the buildings. We'll see how that works. Okay, 6 AM local time, and you can see we've got the sun behind us, and the buildings and the airport's beginning to light up and come to life. And it looks pretty nice. So 1 hour later, 7 AM, and here's the view across the airport with the sun sort of up behind us. All looks pretty good. However, you know, you can see we still have some anomalies here. You've got landside here, the block just hasn't worked here. I mean, probably as you move towards it or start moving, it will change. Okay, so it's daytime. Let's time to wrap up the review and give you my conclusions. What do I like about the scenery? It's detailed, and it really is a very nice attempt at recreating this airport. It's certainly the best version out here that I can see. You have everything that you need to have. It's a little bit short on, well, no, it's not short on people. They've done what they've done, and I quite like what they've done in the way that they've done it. We've got an internal development at the terminal. Airside looks quite good. You've got 1 or 2 photo shops that don't really look that good because they're not high resolution. But you've got some that are. You animated people work fine, no frame rate loss. Landside looks pretty good, although it could do with maybe a couple of taxis and a couple of families perhaps going into the terminal. But the internal development looks really nice. From a pilot's point of view, the stands look good at day and during the darkness hours. The lighting is impeccable. It's very nice. I'm not sure if the runway is missing some taxiway signage. The exit points here and here are not marked when you leave the runway. You just have to basically turn off and that's it, although they've got runway warning signs if you're going on. But again, like I said, I've not been here, so I don't know if that's the case. Maybe somebody can let me know. But overall, the scenery is really quite nice and it does look good. However, 2 big showstoppers for me. The biggest one perhaps is the scenery popping, and the way that many of the buildings sit up in the air until you get close to them. It doesn't seem to happen that much airside, although it did quite a lot over here at the hangars. So if you land with a general aviation aircraft and this is where you want to park, you'll see all that jumping about, and that's not very good. They really need to get hold of that. where the terrain jumps around and sorts itself out, it really isn't doing it very well. And again, I'm not a developer, so I don't know what the answer to that is, but you know, when we're used to seeing the likes of InnyBuilds, RD Presets, and other such developers bringing out sceneries like this where you don't get that issue, it is a little bit of a disturbance to be reminded of it. Tropicalsim, they clearly can do scenery very well, but they're not skilled enough to be able to sort out that terrain and scenery popping issues. I really hope they do, because I've known them, they've been around for a while. I bought many of the sceneries, and I bought this one, by the way. I wasn't given it. I purchased this for review, and I will fly in here because it's a 777 destination. I could do without this as well, vehicles going up and down the runway. Again, they need to get a handle on this, and they need to sort out the scenery popping and the buildings and the way they all float. Those are the biggest showstoppers for me, and if they can sort that out, you've got a really good product. As it is, it's probably just about worth the price. You know, I think it's okay. It really is worth the price, and it's a nice scenery, but these little showstoppers need to be fixed. They really do, because they're really off-putting. We shouldn't have to endure this kind of thing now with the scenery development that we've got, and it's something I think that Tropicalsim have to get a handle on. They really do. That said, the prices aren't too bad, and as I said, if you've owned previous versions, then you're going to get something like €4 or €5 off, so it could turn out to be quite a good deal. If you really want this airport, this certainly is the best version, and if you're a previous owner, then you're going to get quite a substantial discount. That's quite a selling point in itself. But I would like to see a version 2.1 brought out where they've solved the popping of the scenery and the floating buildings. That really needs to be solved. I mean, I can even deal with vehicles on the runway, but if they solved all these building issues and scenery issues, then I would be really pleased. So there you go, folks. If you've been on the fence about version 2, I hope this review has helped. I'm sorry to have to report the issues that I've reported, and Tropicalsim, if you're watching, this is not in any way meant to be a massive criticism. You've been producing sceneries for some time, and I bought many of them, and they're good. But as you can see in the video, these issues do exist, and they do spoil what is potentially a really good detailed product. So hopefully you can get a handle on them. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been helpful, especially if you've been on the fence wondering whether to get it or not. I still think it's worth the price, but like I said, their work needs to be done. My job here is to review these products to see whether they're worth you spending your money on, and the other part of my job here is to encourage developers to have a look at these issues when I report them and to get in and sort them out. And ultimately you get a win-win situation. The developer gets more customers, and customers are satisfied with the product. That's my job as far as I see it. So thank you for joining me. I might try and get another video out this week, but I'm hoping to try and fly the 777-300 for the first time. I've had it for a couple of weeks, been doing quite a bit of research, and I haven't flown it yet. So it's about time I got into that bird and started flying it. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for your support, and thanks for watching the videos. This is my 501st video. And guys, thank you very much. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that. It's really cheap. Details in the description below. So thanks again. This is Lee, your virtual airline pilot, saying bye for now. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.